Greetings, and this is the Flute Sidekick book, page 12. Keep instrument clean. Keep instrument clean. Very, very important page. I can't tell you how important this is. This is just... Yes, I can. It's very important. That's how important it is. So, we got two pictures here and a whole lot of info. Okay? Reference this page. Make sure that you are cleaning the flute after every time you pick up the flute and play. Okay? What is happening inside your flute while you're blowing into it is very similar to what happens to the mirror in the bathroom when you take a shower. Okay? When you take a shower, after you're done, you look at the mirror. It's all wet and foggy. Okay? Now, you didn't do anything to that mirror, right? What happened was the heat and water became water vapor in the air. It became saturated with this water vapor. And against the cooler, flat surface of your mirror, it condensated onto the mirror. And then you see all the fogginess and wetness and everything starting to drip. Okay? Now you're blowing hot, moist air into your flute. You're blowing over it, but still hot air is going into the flute. On the inside of the flute, air is getting saturated with water vapor and it is condensing on the sides. All right? Because of that, that wetness stays there. And if you leave wetness without wiping it clean, as you know, that is not good. That leads to moldy, mildew, and bad smells and all that stuff. We want to avoid that. So you're going to need to wipe it clean. Okay? So here's what you got to do. First, in your flute case should be a rod. Now, some of you have a plastic rod and some of you have a metal rod like I have with me here. All right? It's a long rod with what looks like an eye of a needle. Okay, a little hole right there. All right. And on the other end, you'll see a little spot that's kind of marked a little in. All right. We'll talk about that way, way, way in the future. All right. Right now, the important part is this and that bandana or handkerchief I told you got to get. Okay. You absolutely 100% need to be cleaning your flute, which means you need a flute rod and you need some kind of cloth. Now, it doesn't have to be a handkerchief or a bandana, but any similar kind of material, okay? Do not use something that's going to rip easily, and do not use something that's too thick, all right? So something like this is perfect. All right, so what I do is I take the corner of said item, and I stick it into that hole. Okay, and I pull it through some of the ways. Okay, you won't be able to pull it all the way through. Then you're going to take this and you're going to hold it right there. Okay, don't hold it too far down. Okay, we're going to be sticking this in your flute. And if you stick it in your flute and you pull back, if you're not holding that there, let's say you're holding the rod but not the cloth, when you stick it in, when you pull it out, it's going to clump up and be almost impossible to pull out anymore. Okay? You need to grab the cloth and the rod to pull it all the way out. Okay? So when you're going to put the cloth into the hole, and you are going to hold the cloth and the rod at the same time. Okay? Now, the head joint, this part here, remember sometimes you might need to take a wet paper towel that you squeezed off and you can wipe the edge of where your mouth goes and you can wipe this part right here. Okay? But never run any of it underwater. Okay? But it's still going to get wet inside because of that whole condensation thing. So we take this and we put it in here and we pull it out. Okay? And that should wipe it clean. All right? Don't push too far in. This part might fall off. If it falls off, don't lose it. Put it back on. Screw it back on. Okay? Then the middle joint, you're going to need to do both sides. One side, pull out. Other side, in, out. Okay? Then foot joint can go all the way through. Foot joint's the only spot where you'd be able to make it all the way through, which is pretty cool. Okay? Now, when you put it back in its case, make sure that the middle joint has the pinky key going in towards the center. Do not have it facing this way. That is very bad. That key will break when I bend the lid over. So you need to make sure that the key is facing the center. All right. The head joint will have the mouthpiece closer in, and the foot joint should have the keys where you put your pinky farther in. Okay? So these keys, the mouthpiece and this pinky, are all more towards the center. And then then you'll put your let me put this down on a flat surface. I'm going to take this out. Okay. You'll put your rod. There should be a space in your flute case for the rod. You will close it. Latch both the latches closed. All right. And then I like to tie the handkerchief to the handle. Voila. Okay. This way your instrument stays clean. We avoid it getting extra dirty with any mold or mildew. All right. And by having the handkerchief or bandana or cloth out here, one, it's not going to break the flute by being inside the case. Two, you'll probably be able to recognize your flute a little easier. Okay. Because it'll have this sticking on it. And you'll be like, oh yeah, I can tell that one's mine. All right. So keep your instrument clean. And may the force be with you.